This lesson is all about brainstorming and planning your essay before you write it. Now, what will you achieve at the end of this lesson? Well, you will be able to generate more than enough ideas. Many students complain that they can't think of any ideas. Well, after this lesson, you will not have this problem any longer. Also, the ideas will come a lot quicker to you and in a more methodical or organized and logical way. Also, you'll be able to organize your ideas more easily and more quickly. And the final result is that you will improve your time management, meaning that you will achieve more in less time, which is very important in an exam. But be careful. No brainstorm means bad planning, which means a bad essay. And many students insist that they don't need to brainstorm, and time again, they give me bad essays. Another reason, they say they don't have time to plan in an exam. This is an exam, I don't have time. Well, if you have to write a 300-word essay in 1 hour, that means, okay, so in 1 hour, there are 3,600 seconds. So 300 words in that time means 1 word every 9 seconds that you have to write. Well, let's see what that looks like. Fast, right? Oh, there's the next word. 9 seconds later. Oh, there's the next word. Am I making my point clearly? You see, 1 word every 9 seconds. Oh, there's another one. It's more than enough time. You have so much time that you can spend time planning. Right, I'm going to fast forward through this. I think you got the message. Okay. Right. So what if you used 20 minutes of that 1 hour for brainstorming and planning? 20 minutes to plan and brainstorm, and then 40 minutes to write and check. What does that mean? Well, that's 8 words per second. Well, clearly, if nine words was more than enough, 8 words per second is more than enough. So if you spend 20 minutes brainstorming and planning, you still have all the time in the world to write the essay and correct it. When students say they don't have enough time, what happens is they spend the first 10 minutes writing everything they know all at once, put it down on paper, and then they spend their time scratching their heads. Maybe they erase a paragraph because they realize it's not working, and they try to think of the next paragraph, and they lose time and they get poor results. You see, a good planning means the essay will write itself. I'll tell you a little story about this. Many years ago, I was interviewed for a job at a university, and I passed the interview, and they said, well, we'd like you to come in to write an essay. So, well, I went in to their office, or to the exam room, and there were about 30 other teachers trying to get this one job at this university. And we had to write a long essay in about 2 hours. So they gave out all the papers. They said, now you can start. I turned over my piece of paper. I started reading the choice of questions. I had a little think, which question shall I do? I looked around, and most of the people had already started writing. Well, I thought, no, I'm going to plan. I think I planned and organized for 45 minutes. And when I looked at my plan and was satisfied that the plan was good, I wrote the essay out without taking a breath even. It just wrote itself. I had all my ideas, I knew in which order I'd be writing them, and I wrote them out very smoothly and very quickly. And then I had time at the end to check my work. Then I had time to check it again and again. And I stayed in that exam room until the very last minute. And by then, most of the other teachers had gone. Some had left after 1 hour. Some were still there scratching their heads and rushing towards the end. But I had finished in plenty of time and checked, and I spent 45 minutes brainstorming. And guess who got the job offer? Me. I didn't take it though. They weren't paying enough money. So the big question is, how do you begin? Well, we all start with a blank piece of paper, which for many students is very scary, and students panic. But I'm going to give you a tactic, and that is this. Break the topic into separate parts. Okay, now in the brainstorming sections to the other lessons, we will see examples of this. But we're going to talk a little bit about the ideas behind my theory. So breaking the topic down. There are trigger words that I use when I am breaking a topic down. So these are words that make ideas jump into my mind. So I look at the psychological aspect of this topic. I look at the economic impact of this topic. I look at the temporal issues of this topic, meaning the time, was it like this before? Will it be like this in the future? Does it take a short time, a long time to do? Everything about time, about this subject. I look at the political part of this problem. Let's say the political effects, the physical effects or the physical causes, the educational effects or the educational reasons, environmental. All these words help me think up ideas because I've broken it down into pieces. What are the cultural aspects, the geographical aspects? Also, I look at this subject, or I break the topic down into aspects that affect humans, or how are humans involved in this topic? How are animals involved in this topic, if they are? Maybe old people and young people, because technology, for example, to young people is different than technology to old people, and it affects old people in different ways to young people. So if you're a young person writing an essay, you also have to think from the point of view of old people. Okay? The world is larger than you, and you have to put yourself in other people's positions and write down what the effects or the causes are for these people. Poor people, rich people, Indians, Germans, Turks, French people, Americans. Many things affect people in different ways. And if you break the topic down into much smaller pieces, then more ideas are going to jump into your mind. Then we can break the topic down even further. Let's say we're looking at, the physical effects of something on old people. What is the effect on the hair of old people or hair of all people? What's the effect on our heads or eyes, nose, lips, ears, teeth, neck, back? Go through all the parts of the body. And these things may affect old people differently to adults and young people and young children and babies. So let's say, for example, you're writing about the effects of fast food. Now, fast food has very little effect on young people because young people use a lot of energy running around, like children. Children can eat so many French fries because they spend all day running around. However, older people, it affects them in different ways. So, take each different kind of person into consideration when you're breaking down the topic. Okay, fast food, well, what effects does it have on the body? Well, it doesn't affect your hair, so move on from that. Does it affect your eyes? No. Neck? Well, actually, fast food makes you put on weight, and your neck becomes fatter. And when your neck is fatter, it becomes more difficult to breathe at night. And very often, you can suffer from what's called sleep apnea. So by going through all the different parts of the body, part by part, I came to neck and thought fast food, neck, what's the effect? Fat neck, what's the effect of a fat neck? So I came up with this idea of sleep apnea, a very good idea, because I broke down the subject into smaller parts. Also, effects of things on teachers, on builders, on students, on whomever. Economic effects on students. If you're talking about, let's say, online courses, now this affects teachers in a different way to students. Maybe it's cheaper for students, but for teachers, there are fewer jobs. So each topic that you're writing about affects different people on the same subject in different ways. And the quickest way to find all of these ideas is to break down the topic into easier pieces. Economic effects on poor students. If you think about it, if you're a rich student, it might not affect you. And if you're a rich student writing an essay, you can't say, no, there are no economic effects. That's wrong, because there are economic effects on poor students. So put yourself into other people's position. When you're writing papers at university, it's important to go deep into a subject. Now, of course, if you're writing an essay in 1 hour under exam conditions, you may not have time to go so deeply into a subject. And it depends how many words you need to write. But you should ask yourself, when you find an effect, what is the effect of this effect? Maybe what's the effect of the effect of the effect? Look at this. Taking painkillers makes you dizzy, and as a result, you can't drive. So can't drive is the effect of taking painkillers. Maybe there's an effect of the effect of the effect. You can keep going. Similarly, you can ask yourself, what is the cause of this cause? We have a problem. What caused the problem? What caused that in the first place? So go deeper to find the root of a problem. And if you do that, you will find it easier and quicker to find solutions. So if you're writing a problem solution essay, find the cause of the cause of the cause. That breaks down the subject into little tiny pieces, and then you have easy fixes, easy solutions to the problems. But be careful. Look at this. Exam stress causes death. Really? Well, consider this. If you suffer from exam stress, you become angry. And when you become angry, you lose friends. If you have no friends, you won't have a girlfriend. And if you don't have a girlfriend, you'll get depressed. If you get depressed, you may commit suicide and die. Therefore, exam stress causes death. Is that realistic? No. So don't go too far with it. Okay, brainstorming on the page. How does it look? Well, there are different ways of writing it. Everyone has their own systems. You can do a spider diagram like the one on the left, or you can separate your page into sections like causes and effects. Okay, and we'll actually look at those in detail when we look at each essay type in the future lessons. So the next step, okay, is add proof and add specific examples and relevant examples to each supporting idea that you have. You can add quotations from experts and professors, from books, and all of these will add strength to the points you make. And when you look at the brainstorming on your page, you can check, okay, here I have an effect. Do I have proof? Do I have an example for this? Do I have a proof about this cause? Do I have the cause of the cause? Is there an example I can give? And once you've checked all of that, then you will know that you have big, fat, healthy paragraphs. And then you can write so much more easily. And now you're ready to plan. Okay, and all planning is choosing your ideas, putting them into order, and checking that you have enough ideas to write all of the words. And that could take just a matter of minutes. Maybe you'll just draw a circle around the choices that you're making. You don't have to write everything that you brainstormed, because very often some of the ideas are weak. You just choose the biggest and fattest paragraphs that you have. And then just label them paragraph 1, 2, and 3, etc. As I said, check that you have enough proof. Of course, if you need to prove the point. Okay? Because if you can persuade the reader that what you're saying is true, then you're going to have a really strong essay. Or, once you've done the brainstorm, you can write the plan on a piece of paper just to put your ideas in a nice, neat sequence. Some people prefer that. You choose what works best for you. And now we're ready to write. Because a good brainstorm means a very fast plan and an excellent essay.